Damon L. Jacobs for We Love Soaps, coming from the set of One Life to Live. Stay tuned. We have some fascinating interviews coming up. Check it out. Jerry, it's so great to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Really neat to me. I've admired your work on Guiding Light and One Life. And,
thank you very much.
Just really enjoy your presence on screen. You've been consistently on our screen now for 31 years, playing two very, very different characters.
Yes. Oddly enough, Ross Marler, who I played for 25 years, was more of a stretch, even though people say, well, I can't imagine doing anything else, because I'm essentially a North Dakota cowboy who was asked to play this sort of like Kennedy-esque Yale kind of person for some years. And that was fine after I got into it, and I wore a lot of suspenders and a lot of suits. And
Gave a lot of speeches.
Gave a lot of speeches, did a lot of trials, and got memorized a lot of words. And but then when I got the role of Clint, it was like, oh, you can breathe, you can relax. Plus, I've been wearing the most comfortable cowboy boots in the world for the past, how long have I been on the show? 5 years, I guess. So it's a wonderful change. And I don't wear many ties, which is nice. So it's a welcome change.
Yeah. Certainly, Clint can throw his weight around. He can threaten, he can intimidate. That's not something Ross ever really seemed to do.
No. Clint has a great deal of power, and I have to, as a sidebar, I have to say just how privileged I am to play the role. Clint Ritchie did such a wonderful job for so many years, and to work with Phil Carey when I first came on, and Bobby Woods, to walk into a historical show like this and play a historical character is quite intimidating because you don't want to mess it up. But in regards to Clint, now he has, as they say, he has set an agenda. Mm-hmm. And this could lead down several roads, and some of them could be pretty rough.
It seems like Clint, especially now, is positioned to be in a lot of different people's lives in Landview and make an impact.
Yeah, the things he's got his fingers in now lead to everywhere. It leads to Vicky, it led to Dorian, it leads to Matthew.
Mm-hmm. Tell us about some of that. What's going on between Clint and how does Matthew play into that?
Well, we had a scene some years ago that I was involved in where Asa looked at Matthew, who must have been 11 or 12 at the time, and said, "You got something in you, boy. Mm-hmm. You look like a Buchanan that could actually run the place." And so this is a wonderful story, because when story comes out of past history, I just love it, and I think audience members do too. That now Matthew has been Buchananized, perhaps, and he's now an intern at Buchanan Enterprises and fulfilling the prophecy that Asa had, that you're the one to lead this next generation. And this perhaps will cause a little conflict with his parents.
I think so. Yeah. I think so, because Bo has always stood up against that way of wheeling and dealing.
And the delicious thing was, Bo once did what Matthew's doing now. Asa brought him in and sort of tossed him around and trying to figure out if he was going to be any good at the business. And so, Bo did not have a good experience. And so Bo was very leery when I broke the news to him. I had offered and Matthew had accepted. And then I'm sure down the line Nora's not going to be too pleased. So,
which could bring Clint much enjoyment.
Yes, because revenge factor, that may not be out of the question. So
well, Clint got a pretty raw deal with that whole Nora marriage thing. That was pretty...
Even though he should have known, maybe, in his heart of hearts, well, maybe this won't work. But she said and he said, and both of them said yes, and they went down the aisle, and then that came to no good. Even while we were taking the vows, she was making eyes at Bo.
Mm-hmm. Now, do you think Clint was just oblivious to that, or do you think he was in denial?
I think he was in denial, and I think he was pretty much a victim of, if love is blind, he really led the way in that regard. I think he saw what he wanted to see and would overlook a lot of other stuff. Because Bo and Nora were doing an awful lot of things for the, at the time, injured Matthew, so he would say, well, the natural parents are, okay, here, use my plan. Do what's best for your kid. But, like I say, I think he overlooked an awful lot. And then with the Kim situation.
Yeah, I was going to say, he found comfort and some fun there.
I mean, talking about, a broken heart going into flames. Right on the heels of Nora, and this thing walks into his life, and it kind of worked for some reason, and then to have it disappear within a week, that could set a man off.
Yeah.
Especially a man who happens to be the son of Asa.
So is that what's going on now with Clint? Is that
I think the sins of the father are coming to visit the son, and that happens so much in life too, especially with the oldest. And so you can see the Asa popping out of Clint every once in a while. Much to many people's chagrin, that's not a good side they want to see. I think
viewers are going to find this
tasty. I think viewers will find it very tasty because it involves so many veteran characters. It's involved Vicky and all the Buchanans and my daughters. It'll make a mess of a lot of things. So that'd be great fun.
Does Clint still have feelings for Vicky? In your mind?
In my mind, I play that all the time. That deep-seated thing where, back in their youth, that they really hit it off and they shared children. And so, even all the things that have happened. And if she could survive me being with Dorian, she could survive anything, and she would forgive me. So, we sort of have this life happens.
And what about somebody new catching Clint's eyes?
That's always a possibility that I yearn for.
Uh-huh.
And I've got a particular close friend who you may be referring to that is going to, not show up, re-show up in Landview.
So let's talk about it. We know now Kim Zimmer is returning to One Life to Live.
Yes.
That you two worked together many, many years in.
Yeah, we were over 2 decades. And I did a lot of story with Kim back then. And I think it's a great addition. Because she is so much a good energy. She works fast, and these days we shoot these things like it's hysterical. Multiple episodes per day, pieces of them. And it goes 100 miles an hour, and there's no rehearsal, and she can handle a lot of material. So in that regard, it's very good. She always gets along with the people on the floor. So it's just a huge addition. Plus, I think she's going to bring along with her thousands of orphan guiding light viewers.
That's right.
Who got their little visual novel taken away from them and are in some strange state of mourning. Because I see them every once in a while at events, and they're like, they really don't know what to do. It's like the book was only half done and someone took it away from them. In a way, it's just kind of sad.
Well, what was also said about The Lost of Guiding Light, so many things, but something that disappointed a lot of the Long fans was that we didn't get closure with Ross. I mean, right. Ross was kind of the backbone of the soul of that show for so many years, and...
Yeah, I was kind of like Bobby Woods is on this show. As a matter of fact, we came on the same month and the same year. Yeah. He came on One Life, I think, in the spring, 79. Sometime in '79, and I came on Guiding Light at that time. And so it was... it's kind of strange, but they did the best they could. I mean, I was under contract to ABC, so I couldn't go over and do a show. But the odd thing is, they did the final show in my hometown.
Peabeck?
No, Sparta, New Jersey.
Wow.
They did the Vanessa wedding at the country club there.
Uh-huh.
So I drove up on my boat. I have a boat on this lake. And waved. So in a
you
way,
might have been in there somewhere.
I might have been in there somewhere, right.
Ross was in the background.
But anyway, having Kim come back is like, so nice. And I think since One Life to Live is in this era of, within the past 6 months or so, it's turning into a good soap. It's what people like. A lot of infighting, and a lot of characters from all the generations on the canvas. It's good stuff. And she's reprising a character that she started 20-some years ago.
Right.
Some One Life to Live viewers may not know that. And I had to go to the show historian, Erica Slazak, who remembers everything.
Wow.
In voluminous detail. And so she filled me in on Echo, the character that Kim will play. And it sounds delicious.
What did you learn about Echo? About her history with Clint?
They came... in between Clint and Vicky, when Clint and Vicky were together, and not good things happened with Clint and Vicky because of Echo, so that might be reprised.
That would be very interesting. I think that'd be a great use of history, as you said, and great use of the talent. Another Guiding Light orphans have also found some comfort in finding Jessica Lucia on One Life to Live.
Yes.
She came in after Ross, after he was gone, but many fans took a strong following to her and Crystal Chappelle's story.
She's a good addition, Crystal. And now my daughter on Guiding Light is now my ex-daughter-in-law here.
Right, Gina.
Because she's not married to Kevin anymore, right? Yeah, so she's
They're not, right.
That was a tough thing about coming to the show. It would have been fine if you come to a show that's older than 20 years old and you're playing a new character. But if you come on and you play an established character like I did, there was so much I had to fit. It took me a full calendar year to really figure out everything, just statistically and then emotionally. Who are you and what's your relationship to me? And this went on forever. And like I say, Erica, who with her vast knowledge filled me in a lot of gas. But for the first year, I just played scenes in neutral, hoping not to screw anything up because I didn't know in detail who I was working with.
It was bittersweet because, as viewers, we were so happy to see you working. We were so happy to see you, but we were also sad to lose you on Guiding Light. To see that if they weren't going to be able to use you to the best of your ability, that at least another show would. But it was, as you said, a long-term role that came in, and he was acting kind of un-Clint-like at the time, too.
Yeah.
That made it even
of course,
better.
I did have a nice sidebar to it in that the character hadn't been on the screen for 5 or 6 years. So, and the character had been in London. So lots of things could change about the character, which would help with the recast. Because sometimes with the recast, if one ends on Friday and another one picks up on Monday, the audience is like up in arms.
Right.
This go around, the audience was a little kinder to me. There was always that, that's not Clint. That's not Clint. Well, in a while, some of them get used to it. Because I saw it happen a lot on Guiding Light. We had a couple, Ed Bowers, it was a tentpole character. Every time we get a new ad, and we only had 3 over 30 years, but audiences get real attached. But they go through that. And it was one of those things, one ended on Friday and then another ad started on Monday, and it was like, it's hard to do for the actor.
Yeah. Now, when you have been on shows for 31 years, you've seen daytime thrive, you've seen it struggle. I think there was a time when you've been on the air where there were 15 different soaps on the air at the same time. In a month, we're going to be down to 6.
Right.
What do you think, in your opinion, what needs to happen to keep the shows that are left alive and vital and thriving? What needs to happen?
I think what they're doing now is that they really have to streamline them. And you're right, when I came to the city, I think there were 14 in the city alone. They were everywhere.
Yeah.
And the first one I did was live, I believe. Love is a Many Splendid Thing. And, I was doing theater, was doing mostly week roles or daily roles or extra roles and stuff. And they were very big and nighttime-like, and they did one show a day, and you had rehearsal and everything. Now, they have to streamline the budget, of course. And the reason all this happened, I think, is that, 650 cable channels and everybody's attention getting split. And this new generation, which watches everything mostly not on a television, either be on a phone or whatever they're carrying around in their pocket. And it is rare to find a person who watches One Life to Live, who watches it on Channel 7, on a TV, at the time it's aired.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're like dinosaurs now. I mean, they either TiVo it or Hulu it, or they do something to it and watch it at their convenience. So you always have to take into consideration the shrinking audience because of diversion. So the budgets have to follow. And I think what they're doing now is on the right course if they're going to stay on.
Which is, as you were saying, more veterans, more different generational stories.
I think it has to be well-rounded because the people who watch the 17-year-olds are, and if they're 17 watching a 17-year-old, and if the generation above them is missing, it doesn't ring true to their lives because, that generation wants the world, and the generation above them saying, hey, wait, not so fast, you got to do this, you got to do that, behave this way, at least do this. And then, so if that pressure's not there, it just sort of rings hollow. So
Right.
everybody has to be on the board.
I agree, and I can even remember being a teenage viewer and young adult, and I was more interested in Ross and Roger and
I know what
Holly,
you're gonna say. I
and
used to watch
those were the people that.
I used to like it's like a keyhole into the older generations. Oh, so that's what they do.
Right.
Oh my! I gotta wait to get there.
Billy and Reva and Josh, and these were the people that I found.
But you enjoyed the younger group, but to get a peek at what goes on in grown-up land was part of the attraction.
Right. Now, you won Emmys in 1995 and 96 as Best Supporting Actor.
Yes.
For Guiding Light.
I think I was nominated 6 times, so I'm batting .333.
Where do you keep them?
I'm 1 for 3. They're in my wife's office now, I believe. But I now, for the past 7 years, I've had this fundraiser that I do, the bowling event, and for the American Cancer Society. Last year I got the vivid idea, why don't I drag these ladies out and charge people $5 or something to have their picture taken with it. So these guys, these Emmys, they raised over, I think the total was $7,000 just from the Emmys alone. So
And this is for
American
Cancer
Society.
Research.
Yeah.
Okay, Cancer Society. Now, this is a cause that's very important to you, and I think I want to make sure that our viewers know about why this is important to you.
Yeah, I'm a 17-year cancer survivor. So, and Guiding Light at the time in 1993 when I was diagnosed, they were very kind. They kept me on payroll and said, you tell us what you're going to do, and we'll be here, and when you're well, you come back. So, that takes an awful lot of pressure off of a household that suddenly found themselves in a lot of anxiety, because the kids were little at that time, so it's not a good time. Never a good time, but it's an awful time, man. And so I got treated, and luckily got better. I had a couple relapses, and the show was equally nice. But after, I didn't talk about it for a long time, because it's not something you want to be known for or be a poster boy for, or it's part of that repression. You'd really rather get back to your normal life and forget that happened. But other people who shall remain nameless convinced me that that's maybe healthier to talk about it and to inspire other people if you can. And I found that by using any celebrity that I have to influence research money, like going to Relay for Life events. I've hosted those in the tri-state area about 30 times. And you have to be a little strong when you go in there, because, and like the bowling event, if you come to the bowling event this year, you will find part of the attraction of it is relatives or survivors themselves come up and they have to exchange stories. So it does become very emotional. It's kind of draining, but it's worth it, and I'm glad I started it all. And that's how I'm putting the Emmys to better use than just sitting gathering dust.
And the bowling event is a yearly event here in New York City?
Yes, always in October. This year it's in October 10th at the Port Authority Bowling Alley, and it's always a raucous event. And I think last year the total was, because now online everything multiplies now, because you can have the auction for people who aren't there. So it's approaching about $40,000 a year, and all of it goes, because it's all volunteers who do this, including the actors who show up and help the afternoon along. So all of it can go to research.
It's wonderful. It's wonderful. And as we know, early detection is key in preventing and treating cancer.
And since I had prostate cancer, it's men are notoriously bad. They don't like to go to the doctors unless something really hurts or something's falling off.
Right. So if I'm 39 years old, what do I need to know about early detection and about prostate cancer?
Well, hopefully you're getting a physical every 12 or 18 months. And during that physical, they'll take blood and they should run a PSA test.
Okay.
And that can detect the growth of any cancer in the prostate.
Now, a lot of men, I have talked to men, I'm a counselor, and I've worked in clinics where I've talked to men who are very ashamed and afraid of getting a test from their doctor or asking for that test. They're very nervous about the finger. They're very nervous about the exam. What do you say to them?
It's so painless. It's the only pain that's involved is your embarrassment. And the blood test, I was, you're 39?
Mhm.
I was 42, and I went in with this information that I had gotten, oddly enough, from some letter we had gotten from our congressman. We were living in Rockland County, New York at the time, and telling me about this new thing called the PSA test. And when I asked for it, the doctor said, when you're 50, you come back to it. Well, you know, it was in my family, I knew. And I was only in there for a physical. You know, I didn't have any symptoms of any kind, and I almost canceled it to go to a commercial audition, but decided to go. And the doctor said, well, you know, your insurance won't cover it. And I said, oh, run it. So they ran the tests along with the other blood tests, and the figures came back way high. And I went back to him and said, you know, and he said, this is a lab error. Because he had done the digital rectal exam, nothing there, you're fine. And it came back even worse. So, you know, then you're in biopsy land, and we went on from there, and I finally had the operation. But, you know, if you didn't have that information, if I had waited until actual physical symptoms, it probably would have been too late.
So we need to go to our doctors. We need to ask for this. We need to be very
Absolutely.
specific about the PSA.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we're going to make sure that information.
And knowledge is power, man.
Knowledge is power.
You
And you've
shouldn't be
done
afraid
so
of it.
much to help and to spread information, really valuable information. Have you heard from men and from women who have been helped by you?
Yes. And we've gotten over through the women a lot of times.
Uh-huh.
Because they're more used to being poked and prodded and going to the doctors, and, you know, take your man with you.
Mm-hmm.
And not just your man, your dad, your uncle, your brother, friends, and get them, encourage them. You know, first of all, men don't get a physical. Statistically, it's known that women get a physical much more
Right.
often than men do.
Right.
So when you make the appointment, you know, make 2 appointments. Right? Well, nagging. If nagging can save lives, good.
Do it. Do it. Oh, Jerry, it's such an honor to speak to you. Is
Well,
there
thank you.
anything I haven't asked you about that you would want our viewers of We Love Soaps TV or people who've been following your career and want to know about you? Anything you want
No,
them to know?
except that I'm so happy One Life to Live, and so happy that Kim is coming back.
Yeah.
And a lot of my friends are joining the show. That it's just going to be a great addition.
Yeah, we
Thank
are
you
looking
so
forward
much.
to it. All right. Thank you so much.
Good to
This
see you.
honor